Is there something where you're like, I can relate to this? Maybe it's not a place, but maybe it's a person that you keep coming back to,
Sure.
or your instrument.
Right.
Right? Like it can be anything where like I can make this feel like it fits me.
I went down to Houston, stopped in San Antonio. I passed up the station for the bus, trying to find me something I wasn't sure just what, and I ended up pockets full of dust. I went on to Cleveland, I ended up insane, bought a borrowed suit and learned to dance. I was spending money like the way it likes to rain, and I ended up pockets full of cane.
Okay, how's that?
Good. I can drop into that pretty. In fact, it's kind of one of those things that I feel like I'm good at. You know, people say, "Oh, I get nervous before I go on stage," or "I'm nervous before shows." I don't have that. Like, "Oh, I'm nervous." It has to be a really big deal.
Hey Voxstar, and welcome to From Singer to Artist. I'm Lara Chapman, award-winning singer and songwriter turned viral vocal coach and the host of this show. At VoxTape Studios, we help singers from all over the world level up their voices by teaching them the 3 fundamental skills all singers need: technique, awareness, and artistry. Whether you're looking to go pro or just develop your voice for fun, my team and I are here to help. Check the link in the description to book your first session or grab some of our other resources. Alrighty, are you ready? Let's get started. Today, we are doing some more singing, my friends. And with me in my little home studio, I have Verne Fritz. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Awesome, as usual.
Yes, you look great.
Thank you.
It's been a while since I've seen you,
Yep.
So happy to see you.
What did we decide?
thrive.
5 years now, probably.
You know,
Almost
yeah.
4.5, probably.
Yeah,
Solid.
we were just talking about, we did a one for your podcast.
Yep.
We did an episode, but that was virtual because,
Yep.
you know, it was in the height of COVID.
Yep.
So yeah, but like in person, it's been like a good
Years.
5,
Yep.
6 years, something
Yep,
like that.
exactly.
Oh my gosh. I'm excited to have you here because
Thanks.
we go back a little bit,
Yeah.
and how I met you was through an open mic.
Correct.
And that was with Books and Brews. And I was there the first time I was there, I was just observing and I didn't sing because I was like, I'm going to check this out, see what this feels like. And you were obviously there because you were kind of like...
I think I was probably hosting at that point, wasn't
Yes,
I?
yes. You were hosting all the open mics, and you did their booking as well. So
Right.
the second time I actually went and sang, and I brought my friend Yasmin. We were singing
right,
a duet.
you were a duo, right, yeah.
Exactly. So we were singing a little bit together. I was singing a little bit of alone, and you know, she didn't really stay here. She left, and so
Sure.
you were like, "Hey, Lara, do you want to like come and play? I want to
got
book
shows,
you."
yeah.
Exactly. And I was like, "Oh my God, that's how you get into the industry."
Yep.
I love it. So we met through the open mic. You
Right.
were hosting and you were their booking agent as
Right.
well. Then you started booking me for these shows. And then, you know, the relationship just kind of evolved from there.
Right.
I had a chance to play on TV and I was like,
I need a little
I need a
backup.
little help
Yep.
because I don't want it to be just me with my
Right.
piano playing chords. How can we make this sound cool?
Sure.
So you
Yeah, we had a
brought
good
your
time.
stuff.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was
fun.
really cool. That was cool. So you said
I
baritone,
said baritone guitar. Yeah. I played
Yeah.
a electric baritone because I brought an amp and pedals
Yes.
and made it sound fun. And had all
Yeah.
the stuff going on.
And we had some tracks and you helped me figure
Right.
all of that out because I literally didn't know anything
right.
about
Yeah.
anything. And you're much more of the techie kind of guy.
true.
And I was like, oh, I appreciate this so much. And then COVID.
Yeah.
And then live
we were
music
done.
was
Yeah.
kind of a thing, not anymore. And so I was like, okay. And then I went vocal coaching full time.
Right.
And you're a tattoo artist as
I'm a
well.
tattoo artist.
you
That's
know?
my day
Can't
job.
tell.
Yeah, that's
There
what
you
I do.
go.
That's what I do for rent money.
Yes,
Most of the time.
Yeah. And you're a multi-instrumentalist,
And
right?
I play a little
so-
bit of everything. Yep, I play a
Yeah.
little. I mean, I'm a bass player in my soul.
Okay.
That's what I went to college to be a tuba player. Actually,
Okay.
Tuba was euphonium was my major, which is tenor tuba. And most people, when I say, "Oh, I was a euphonium major,"
Yeah.
kids, if you want to get into a really good music school, play a really weird instrument, because they don't, because they only get a few of those.
Yes.
And euphonium's one of those where it's like, oh, I think that at the time when I was at IU, I think there were, they said, oh, there were 1,600 violinists and euphonium players. There were 6 of us.
Wow.
So, but they kind of need them to fill out some of the orchestral things.
Yeah.
But it's an oddball instrument, and nobody really plays it. Mm-hmm. We always joked, if you've ever seen the classically trained musicians, notoriously will have what they call it the excerpt book. And so if you're a violinist, there's a book that's just all the standards for violin. Here's the first chair part for this and this and this.
Yeah.
There's a euphonium book for that as well.
Okay.
It's one piece. It's a solo section from the Rimsky-Korsakov arrangement of Mussorgsky's Pictures at an Exhibition.
Okay.
It's the only euphonium excerpt that exists in the orchestral world. So, of course, that's the one, you learn that, and then you wait until they play it.
Yeah.
And then one of the 6 people gets to jump in and play it.
That is
I never did get to play it in public, but I was like, it never came up when I was a student there. So
yeah, okay.
I never got to play the piece, but playing tuba through high school, and then I started electric bass in the jazz band and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So bass playing has always been my heart and soul. I like the low end, and I like the freedom that the playing bass gives you,
Yeah.
Especially in a cover band, a lot of times guitar player has to play that guitar part. I think bass player can kind of get away with just kind of, as long as you're holding it down and playing the right root note when it's appropriate. Unless there's something very specific you need to do. Bass player,
like a bass line or something.
Yeah, bass player can pretty much just play what they want, and it gives me that nice freedom. So I've always loved being a bass player.
Okay, that's awesome. See, for me, you were always the guitarist, because
well,
that's what I saw you do most of the time.
And a lot of stuff that I've done when I first came to Indy, I was playing more guitar, and I kind of I did that. Oh, I'm going to get some baritone. I was just nudging myself back towards bass.
Yeah.
I was like, I did that with Meg as well, Meg Martin. When I first started playing with her, I was playing guitar. In fact, the first almost year, I think I played guitar.
Okay.
We did a little tour, the 2 of us, where I had bought an acoustic baritone, which is a really interesting, mid-ground. She was at the time playing baritone ukulele.
Yeah.
So the match of having this baritone ukulele, which is really just guitar without the lowest 2 strings.
Okay.
Same tuning.
Yeah.
And then baritone guitar, acoustic one, being a 5th lower down at A, it just fills in that gap where it's like, I have the lowest note on that baritone acoustic is the low A from a bass. So I'm really only a 5th above what the lowest possible bass note is.
Yeah.
So I've got the ability to play that almost bass line and fill it up.
Yeah.
But because it's also in that mid ground, I can play chords as well and kind of have that, I can just really support that little ukulele sound that seems like it wouldn't be enough. But it really is when you have it crossed over into the range. It fits perfectly. And then her voice sat kind of right in between.
Okay, cool.
And so it was this nice little spot where she had kind of the twinkly little uke, her voice next, and then this wide-ranging guitar that has got enough low end to support everything.
This is something a lot of people don't really think about when it comes to the frequencies.
Yeah.
Right? We need a little bit of a balance, because, if you're down here and you're singing and you're just not, all the instruments are down here too, it's we're kind of off balance here a little bit. We need a fuller picture, and you can create a fuller picture with just 2 instruments.
Right.
And, or even just the voice and one instrument, right? And just balance it out. You don't need an entire production of whatever.
Right. You don't need every single frequency all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my other main instrument with Meg is the 12-string bass. So it's an odd instrument, and people see it and they don't know what it is. They're like, I don't even know what you're playing. It just looks like a giant guitar. And you think 12-string bass, you think, the neck must be really wide. That's not how the 12-string bass works. It's like a 12-string guitar, how there's a little octave string.
Yep.
12-string bass, there are 2 of those for each. So it's still essentially 4 strings.
Yeah.
But they're 4 triples.
Okay.
So every one note you play, you're playing 3 strings. You're playing the fundamental note, the bass note, and then parallel an octave higher.
Okay.
So it's not octave. It's not 3 octaves. It's only 2. But that relationship between those two unison strings is what the kind of like key characteristic of the 12-string bass is. It's like they'll never be perfectly in tune with each other.
Okay.
And so there's a shimmer and a natural chorusing effect that is the 12-string bass. You know, you can get an 8-string bass that just has a single octave next to it. And that has its own kind of tonality. But the 12-string, because there's those two unison strings, they rub each other in just that slight frequency difference way that the big notes. And I'm doing that with the ambient project now too. I'm using that because it covers, like I can play 3/4 of the way up the neck and play a big open chord and literally have like kind of piano level range. Because I've got like A0, A1, and I've got A4.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I've got a nice 4 or 5 octaves that
That's awesome.
I can play and have that. And so that's kind of like, I've been trying to be the odd bass player. You know, it's like, oh, I love to be the bass player, but it's like we were saying with the spreading out that frequency with me playing 12-string bass in that. We were a trio at that time. So it was just guitar, drums, and bass. But because of the way that I had the 12-string system set up, I was actually playing 2 completely separate signals.
Wow.
I had the upper strings going through a pedal board, which turned it almost into a keyboard kind of sound. So like I had a couple of different pedals that are essentially synth pedals that'll give me that on top of the fundamental low bass parts coming out of another amp, unadulterated. So it really does sound like 2 or 3 people simultaneously.
Wow.
So in a trio situation, a lot of times people would come up after our set and say things like, okay, but where's your keyboard player?
Yeah.
It was like, oh, that's just me.
Yeah.
If you really pay attention, you can tell that it's just unison playing. Like, but because the texture is completely different and the tone is different coming out of another amp, and the frequencies are different, it allows me to kind of go, oh, I'm actually making a lot more music than it looks like.
Yeah. Well, see, this is why I had you play with me when we did the TV thing, because I didn't know any of that.
Sure. Well, and just having that in. I'm a natural tinkerer when it comes to stuff like that. And just enough of a neurodivergent person that it's like, oh, I pay attention to things like frequency. Yeah. I don't know why that is. Part of the brain process. Like, oh no, I think in terms of, did that feel all right, sound all right, and look fine? You know, like I like things in 3s, and I always say, oh, you need to triangulate on everything to really learn. You know, you need a physical sensation and a conceptual thing, and then just like the practical experience. And I think when you have all those line up, you can learn anything. It's the way that I've always learned, music stuff. It's like, oh, I need to read it, listen to it, and play it. You know, and then if I do those 3 things, then I can learn that. It doesn't matter how crazy it is.
So how does that translate into your singing journey? Because I haven't heard you sing very much.
I mean, I've been lead singer in a band, like by necessity, essentially.
Okay.
You know, like I've always said, I'll never sing as my first choice.
Okay.
You know, I'll never be like, I'll be the singer. I'm not going to be that guy. Part of it is just that I'm not the right personality. I feel like I know good singers, and I know, and I know I've been in bands with great vocalists and singers, and it's like, oh yeah, there's a certain quality that, and maybe it's just one of those things that like you can't hear it in yourself. It's like, oh, I listen to my recorded voice, and I've been happier with it over the years. Years ago, you couldn't have paid me to listen to my own recording and singing. Now it doesn't bother me nearly as much as it used to.
Good.
I don't know whether I've gotten better and it just sounds better to me, or just gotten used to it.
Fair.
But
maybe
I'll never be the first choice. Like I'll never choose to volunteer to be the lead singer, but I'll do it. And sometimes I will build a project based on the fact that I'm going to have to sing.
Okay.
I do a duo project with my friend Molly, and it's essentially co-lead singer the whole time. Like we do that. It's not just like, oh, you're going to sing and I'll sing harmonies. No, we do a lot of male, female, like songs that were meant to be harmony through the whole song.
Wow.
Civil Wars is one of our favorites. They're so good. You Plus Me, You and Me, which is, if you haven't heard them, it's Dallas Green. Okay. Dallas Green is the guy, what's his City in Color?
Okay.
You've never heard them? Yeah. And then it's Pink. Like
the singer Pink?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's the 2 of them, because Dallas opened her, he like did a tour with her and was like his opening act as an acoustic guy.
Oh my God.
He comes from, his background is super weird, because he was the there was a screamo band called Alexis on Fire.
Okay.
And they were kind of popular. You know how in those bands they'll have two vocalists. They'll have the guy that's the screamy dude, and then the guy with the pretty voice.
Yeah.
Dallas Green was the pretty voice guy from Alexis on Fire. Okay. And he went out and did kind of a troubadour thing with acoustic, and it became a whole different act.
Yeah.
And then he was opening for Pink, and then she was like, "Wow, I really like this guy." And then hung out with him on tour and said, "Hey, come to the house. Let's try and write some songs together."
Yeah.
Evidently, everything I've read, he flew out to her place with a guitar. She said, "I rented a studio, so we got a nice place to work. If you want to just go there and drop off your guitar, we'll go eat, and then we'll go back and see what happens." I guess they went to the studio, they walked in, and they got to talking to somebody, and then next thing they knew, guitars came out, and they'd written 3 songs in like 2 hours.
Wow.
And this album is banger, front to back. It's all very low key. It's like the whole album is basically like acoustic guitar, a little keyboards, some like pedal steel, and very low key ambient drums. That's the whole album.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah, you should. They only did the one album. It's just called You Plus Me.
Okay.
And that was like
my album was called Me Plus You.
There you go.
There you go. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
But that's the name of the act, and I don't know if I think that's just the name of the album too. But yeah, absolutely. And,
and
so we do a bunch of stuff from them.
Yeah.
And that's very much that, like just harmony.
Okay.
In fact, I personally love, and Molly does too. I love that thing where, like you get to that point in the song where, oh, we just traded. Like where now I'm singing the harmony where I halfway through the melody and then they switch. And then you go, I love doing that. I love singing harmonies. My favorite harmony is the hard one.
Okay.
That lowered third, the spot, the weird tenor one that's hard to find. But if you find it, it's really only like
it's juicy.
3 notes right in the middle of the whole song.
Juicy.
You're literally just going, like in that zone the whole time. But it feels so good to sing that weird third harmony to me, that tenor or baritone even, depending on the style.
Yeah. Of course. That is so cool. Before you said like, oh, couldn't pay me to listen to myself. Yeah. Now you're feeling better. Did you ever in your journey take any do any vocal coaching?
I did. So in college, because I was a music ed major.
Yeah.
That meant that I had to do the choral thing too. Okay. And so we were required to take 1 semester of voice lessons.
Okay.
And I recall very little of it. I had a TA, and it was very much like, we all know you're a brass player and this is a requirement for your degree.
Yeah.
We're not going to really hurt you too much. And we're just going to give you, basically it was kind of like, here's the kind of things you need to pay attention to when you're teaching students. Mm-hmm. Like how to teach them to breathe right. And how, that was really what I got from that, was more like, how can I watch someone else sing and maybe have a few comments about like, oh, you need to stand up straight, or I see that you're doing this weird thing with your neck.
Reaching or whatever.
It's like, so there was just a little bit of that I got from that, but it was a very low key kind of lessons.
Okay.
Once a week, it was like an hour once a week for a semester. So I think, what did I have? 17 hours.
It's not that many. Yeah. Okay, cool. And so now you have your duo, you're singing there. Yep. Maybe sometimes you're recording backup vocals.
Yeah, recording backup vocals occasionally.
Okay. Not many live shows, mostly focusing on writing and recording and all that.
And just trying to get
we go through phases, right?
Getting some material together and just trying to keep it. It's like, well, we got to get a little momentum, so new singles pop every once in a while. Cool. Her newest one was probably 2 months ago.
Okay.
6 weeks ago, I think the latest one dropped from that. And oddly enough, the recording was done, like my part was done forever ago. Because we'd go in and rehearse, and it'd be like, I've got 4 new songs. We'd rehearse, and the drummer and I would stay and bang out our 4 songs worth of tracks.
Yeah.
So they had stuff to build on and could work later. And and so when the new single came out and I'm listening to it, I went, did I play on this?
Yeah.
And then so I messaged Cam and I said, did I play it? He goes, yeah. Do you remember when we did that session? You guys did 4 tracks in like an hour.
Oh,
and he goes, and 2 of those were one takes. He goes, that was one of them. He said, so you only played it once.
Oh my God.
He goes, don't feel bad about not. So yeah, we rehearsed it, 3 or 4 times as a live act.
Yeah.
And then everybody split, and then we just kind of went, oh, let's just do the bass tracks and get it done. And so,
well, that just means you're really good.
One take. Yeah. The drummer and I and it's all, the nice thing is that Meg's style is very much like intuitive to me. You know, like she writes from a very traditional kind of songwriter perspective. So if she goes, we're in G, I pretty much already know the song. You know,
okay,
I know where we're going to go. She has some tendencies to, you know, like, oh, I like to use that minor 2 chord, or I like to use the, you know, like there are certain things that happen throughout the song that when she's playing me something brand new, I can usually feel where it's headed.
Okay, cool.
She does occasionally throw in a little, you know, wrench into
little
that.
Something. It's
yeah,
like, ooh,
like, oh no,
curveball.
we're totally going up a whole step here. Like, oh, lead,
yeah. But that's so cool. It's great when it's a good match.
It is,
right?
It is. Yeah. And the band has, like, her and I have always meshed really well. Being as we did like mini tour as a duo.
Yeah.
You know, it's we spent a lot of time in the truck.
Yeah.
You know, just the two of us.
You really get to know each other.
Well, that's how
right?
I talked her into, you know, like hiring a drummer and being a power trio. It was during that tour. I said, you're already playing guitar.
Yeah.
I said, if you could just play rudimentary guitar, because she wasn't, when she started playing guitar in that band, she had never played guitar.
Really?
So she was the guitar player in a trio, like with no real experience other than playing ukulele.
Wow.
So it took her about a month or two of kind of
but that's fast.
Figuring it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, she already had the facility. You know,
from the ukulele.
She could play all the stuff. It was a matter of like going, okay, well that's D.
Well, and then singing at the same time.
And doing the thing.
Yeah.
And playing an appropriate guitar part that actually is a guitar part, not just like, oh, I'm just filling the space while I sing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, a lot of beginning guitar players will do that, where it's just like they're not actually they're more supporting their singing. You know, it's like you can just
me. That's the kind of guitar player I am.
Like
strumming chords.
And you see that, you know, you see it. And sometimes I've always said it. It's like there are a couple of triple threats out there, and they're not very many. You know, where it's just like, oh, great guitar player, great singer, and great songwriter. Where are those?
Yeah.
You know, you can be two of those. And have an excellent career.
Yeah.
You know, you can be a great songwriter and a great, you know, Bob Dylan's a great example of like, oh, not a great singer, but good songwriter, good, you know, like.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there's just a handful of those triple threats out there.
Yeah,
you don't see them very often.
Yeah.
Ryan Adams, I think, is one of them. I think he's a good singer.
There you go.
In his genre, in his style. And
yeah. So that's what we're going to be.
That's what we're going to, yeah.
That's what we're going to do today. Yeah. We're going to do some Oh My Sweet Carolina, Ryan Adams. Yep. We were just talking about what do we want to work on. And you mentioned that post-COVID, like actually having COVID in 2020, you feel like there's sometimes a little bit of a gap, like just a note that's just missing.
Yep.
And so this song is kind of in that range,
right
in that area.
Spot, yep.
So we're going to just go through it, see what's happening.
See if I can find one of those. Maybe,
exactly.
Of course, now talking about it, it'll just be
That's always how
fun.
it goes.
That's
always how it goes.
Right. 100%.
But we'll just go through it, and then we'll dissect it and see what's happening, see what adjustments we can make to really get the most out of it. If that's cool with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yep.
Let's make a singer out of you, lead singer, so you believe in it, because you can do it.
I'll give it a swing.
Alrighty, let's just start from the beginning here.
I went down to Houston. I stopped in San Antonio. I passed up the station for the bus. Was trying to find me something. I wasn't sure just what. And I ended up pockets full of dust. I went on to Cleveland. I ended up insane. Bought a borrowed suit and learned to dance. And I was spending money like the way it likes to rain. And I ended up pockets full of cane. Oh, my sweet Carolina, what compels me to go? Oh, my sweet disposition, may you one day carry me home.
Yeah, very good. How did it feel?
It feels good.
Yeah.
I'm very much a, situational musician where it's like, we don't sing at 3 PM.
Yeah.
You know that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, singing's a bar thing at 10:30 at night with 8 cigarettes and 5 beers in me.
Yeah.
It's that, there's a little bit of that going on right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether I've always been more of a night owl.
Fair.
And so I feel my voice come in later in the day. Like I get rid of a lot of my phlegm and stuff. Like I feel kind of phlegmy right now.
Yeah.
Could have been that half a teaspoon of cream in the tea that I had before. That was 2 hours ago, but it kind of could be.
Well, so usually the phlegm comes from dehydration.
Sure.
So, and also like when you're drinking now, it feels soothing on the voice because
Right.
your larynx
It's gotta get into
resets exactly, but it doesn't actually touch your vocal folds.
Right.
So you
Doesn't
have
get into the
to
system.
you have to drink the day before water, not
Sure. Yeah.
not booze, right? Drink water the day before to feel hydrated today.
Right.
And so phlegm is just kind of a protective layer for your vocal folds when they get dry, so that they're not getting hurt. And also now I don't know how much you warmed up before this.
0.
There you go, right? So you're basically just vibrating the phlegm off of your vocal folds.
Sure.
That's what's happening. And that's very normal, especially when you're not warmed up. That's why we warm up. And we're just using the song to warm up.
Yeah.
But you sounded awesome. How does it feel like effort levels wise? Like if 1 is like, I'm like talking, and 10 is like, I can not sing another note. Where on that effort spectrum are you?
That's around a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like this, it's casual. It's not I'm not pushing. It's right in the sweet spot of my range.
Yeah.
Some of his songs do have a tendency to be just a little at the top or out of my range, but that's one of them that sits right in my sweet spot. And he has quite a bit of his catalog that's right in that.
Okay.
GCD,
Anyways, I want to go again from the beginning. I do agree with you. I think it sits in a really great spot for your voice. Not too high, not too low.
Right.
And in the beginning, can you give me a little less? Like more conversational.
Sure.
Keep it more conversational in the beginning because you're hitting all the right notes and it sounds really great. We don't need to do quite as much just yet. Before we started rolling the cameras, you were like, I just like, he has like these little quirks that he does and it sounds really nice. And those will come out the less you feel like you're singing.
Sure.
The more you feel like you're just telling the story.
I know.
And basically what we're doing is we're making it just a little bit less perfect.
I went down to Houston. I stopped in San Antonio. I passed up the station for the bus.
There it is, yeah.
Was trying to find me something. I wasn't sure just what.
Okay, I'm
And
gonna.
I ended up.
Sorry, I'm gonna
Oh,
interrupt
yeah.
you right there. What is that? Trying. I was trying to find me something. So. I was trying. Can you give me a little bit more of a smile on that try?
Yeah.
I was
Trying to find me something.
Great. Now,
Trying to find me something.
there it is. Yeah. Now, smile just with your mouth, not with your forehead too.
Okay.
Try one more time.
I was trying to find me something.
Great. Now, 10% less volume.
And I tried to find me something.
Great.
I wasn't sure. just
Split
what.
the difference between the two.
And I'm trying to find me something.
Great.
I wasn't sure.
Now you're going to try. You're singing 2 notes. Just for the sake of this exercise, can you try? I was trying, not trying.
Okay. I was trying to find me something. I wasn't sure just what.
How does that feel?
Tried. I was trying to find me something. I'm often very conscious of like whether it's a scoop or a hitting straight on the note. And I don't even know what I was doing prior.
Yeah.
I was doing a scoop, I felt like.
I will call it a step. Try.
Right.
When you're singing 2 notes, a scoop would be more like a
blurry.
try.
Right, not quite as blurry.
Yeah. And then the attack. Try to find me something. But now, because we're in the very beginning of the song, we want to make sure that it's not, I was trying, right?
Yeah.
But more, I was trying to find me something.
Right.
We're not like, yes, we're attacking the notes, meaning we're not stepping or scooping up to it. We're starting on the note, but it's not too much already, right? I was trying to find me something.
Right. A little more push of the air. I feel like that's always been one of my things that I don't pay enough attention to, is just like the flow of air.
Flow of air, yeah.
And, as a tuba player, like that's something that I should be relatively conscious of, because it does take a lot of air to play that big horn.
Of course.
It's like, what do they say? Most people have 4 liters of lung, and it takes 4.3 liters per second to play the tuba.
Oh.
Or so it's like some weird calculation. It's like you need bigger lungs. Like there's a whole exercise, like there's a reason.
Training that, and the capacity.
How to not get dizzy.
Oh my God,
It's literally what it is. Like you just are training to take big breaths over and over and over. And
how long has it been since you played?
It's 25 years.
Okay, well there you go. Yeah, so it's muscles.
Yes.
So I like that you're thinking flow, right? So if we can think less volume, almost a little breathy, like it doesn't necessarily need to be like Billie Eilish kind of breathy, but trying to find me.
I even hear that when you do it. There's enough of the in the back
exactly
end of it, right?
So that allows you to keep it soft.
Find me
now attack it.
Trying to find me something.
That was a little scoop, but I didn't mind that.
Trying to find me something.
Great. Now turn that volume knob all the way down.
I was trying to find me something.
Can you just speak?
Trying to find me something.
Sigh it. Trying. There it is. One more time.
Trying.
Okay, great. Now split the difference. Trying. It's hard, right? When you're not used to like letting the vocal folds open.
Right, just let it flow.
Because that's basically what we're doing. We're just not closing the vocal folds as tightly. We're just keeping a little bit of a gap. Try that. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Try that again.
I felt that in a different spot too. It was a little more.
Okay. A little more the third eye. Yeah, try that again. Good. Now let's try and sustain it for a little bit longer. So it's not try, but try. Good. How's that feeling?
Different.
Different is good. Yeah. Different is good. As long as it's not like scratchy.
Well, it doesn't. Yeah, it felt a lot less restricted.
Cool. Cool.
And I think that's probably the subtle difference between what my brain is used to from the playing the horn is a lot less variable in its concentration.
Yes.
It's kind of like a continuous singular pressure.
Yeah.
And this is more like
singing is a spectrum.
There's so much can be really tight, or it can be like this and being. Let it completely wide, where it's pretty rare to not hold it all in and focus at one speed.
In singing, like in the vocal coaching world, we call this the pressy to breathy spectrum. Right? Is it or is it and everything in between, right? The pressy to breathy spectrum. So what we're exploring right now is a little bit more towards the breathy side of the spectrum.
Right.
And then, at the end of the day, you just want to have options, so you can pick how breathy or how pressy do you want to make it. But here in this case, because we're just in the beginning, I think just that more laid back, almost a little bit of a breathy sound could be really cool. But we have that T, right? Tra. So we need to make sure that tra is not coming in too hot.
Right.
Try. One more time.
I was trying to find me something. I was trying to find me something. I still want to do the squeak. I still want to do the.
Yeah.
I was trying to find me something.
Good.
I wasn't sure just what.
Good. Yeah, so that I was trying to find me something.
More push through the breaths. Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to find me something.
Okay, that's a totally different texture. How's that feeling?
That felt really nosy.
Really?
I opened the palette above.
Yeah.
And I got a double.
Yep.
It was that.
Yeah.
Was where I put it. I guess that's.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. That totally makes sense.
But that's where popped.
Well, so that the air could come out.
Right.
Right. It was your body was trying to figure out, what do I need to do to
more
get
air
more
out?
air out? Yeah. Yeah.
And I am wide open both sides today, so
Perfect.
that happens. That happens occasionally. You got lucky today.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Not that that's necessary to
Right.
use your nostrils to get the breath out, because the mouth opening is a lot bigger than the
Right.
nostrils, right?
Right.
So it's technically not needed. That's just where your body went, because we're exploring something new that you haven't done before. So it's just trying to figure out, what do I need to do to make this happen, right? But, if your nose were a little bit more close, or just one nostril was open, then maybe more of the breath would come through your
Right.
mouth. Either way works. Whatever, feels
Sure.
good to you is
Right.
fine with me. Now, exactly that. One more time, 5% less volume, just a little bit less.
I was trying to find me something.
Okay.
I wasn't sure just what.
Okay, how's that?
Better. It felt smoother, like coming out of it. The hit felt about the same, but the coming out, it felt like there was a awkward taper. It kind of just went.
Yep.
It's kind of. It
Totally.
just ended, but not abruptly. But it also didn't just go. It went.
Oh, yes.
Just
yeah.
that nice
Absolutely.
envelope of closure. It's
Yeah.
like, that's what it felt like. So,
Okay, I love
and it
that.
sounded like that too. I
Yes.
heard it. I was like, oh, that was different. It just
Yeah.
came on in a different way. Yeah.
It's just a different texture that you're giving me, right? Now we're not just painting black and white anymore.
Right.
Now we added a splash of red in there.
Sure.
And that just makes it really interesting to listen to. And technically it's less perfect.
Right.
But that's what we want in contemporary singing. Otherwise, go and sing opera or musical theater,
Yeah.
right? Here, don't sing to the back
No,
of the room.
no,
Sing to
not this.
just right me
Right.
to the microphone. Honestly, literally
Yep.
just
Yeah.
super intimate, super conversational, and a little broken, right? I was
Sure.
trying to find me something. Just, let's do it again.
Okay. I went down to Houston. I stopped in San Antonio. I passed up the station for the bus. Was trying to find me something. I wasn't sure just what. And I ended up with pockets full of dust.
Beautiful. Keep going.
So I went on to Cleveland, but I ended up insane. Bought a borrowed suit and learned to dance. I was spending money like the way it likes to rain. And I ended up with pockets full of cane.
All right. Great.
It's weird. I feel like I tend to autopilot singing, always.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm of that ilk that listening to music, lyrics are 95% meaningless to me during the thing. So there's a very much a disconnect for me of lyrics to the music a lot of times. So I'm very much that's a pitched mouth noise to me.
Yeah.
And so often I disassociate from the actual, lyrical content of a song, which is both good and bad. There are certain songs that I've played over the years that will, emotionally react if I think too much about what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
It's autopilot.
Right.
It's so much harder to change something you've done for a long time than to learn something new.
100%.
Definitely, because you're the brain path was already created.
Yes.
Now it's no, hold on, we got to make a right turn
Yeah.
over there. Change it up
Right.
a little bit.
We need to add one
Totally.
more stop along the way.
Yeah. Interesting that you brought up the lyrics are melodies. I just listen to the melodies. I listen to the music. I don't really listen to the lyrics. I'm the same way. And I think it's because I grew up speaking German, not English, and I always sang English music.
Sure.
I just made the sounds.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was singing about,
Right.
nor did I care.
Right.
I just wanted to sing. And then acting school, after high school, I went to acting school, where it was a part of my musical theater program.
Right.
And that really helped me connect to material.
Sure.
To songs. And that's been very helpful because especially with people like you, where it's just so natural, music comes so naturally to you. if you can connect to the material, the right things are going to come out
right
either way. And I don't have to tell you, make this more breathy, do this there and
sure.
here, whatever, right? You're naturally going to do it. And when we're performing, autopilot, I think is awesome. When we're in the studio,
right.
I don't want that to happen as much because then we're losing a little bit of the rawness.
Sure.
You know? Mm-hmm. The imperfection.
Well, even as a bass player, I'm constantly like on myself about like you play differently when you sit down at the console to play.
Yeah.
When I sit down to record something, I play different than I do live. And I'm trying to reconcile that right now where it's like I like my tone when I play at, performance value.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen very often in the studio. You're playing more to a track and you're actually adjusting. It's a little more subtle and finesse playing in the studio a lot of times. But yet, like you're saying, sometimes you're missing that like raw element that is like, oh, there's something about like digging in a little extra hard when you play. And that tone does that. And so having those, and that's something that I've been working on with my bass playing.
Okay.
It's like, I'm trying to add this element of like, let's get some of that live energy to it. Let's get some of that live tone into it.
Yes. I want you to imagine yourself in a live setting, on a stage somewhere, your favorite stage, where you feel like this song would fit that scene. Yeah. Okay. And I saw you were closing your eyes a lot when you were singing. That's totally fine with me.
I tend to be, that's part of that, like just shutting off the world. It's like when I do that, it's,
it is sometimes really interesting to see how when we start doing things for us, people get more interested in it than when you're like, I'm putting on a show for you, so it pulls people in because they're like, I want to know what's going on over there.
Sure.
So I want you to channel that from like the very, very, very first note.
Okay.
And you know the lyrics, obviously. Do you know what the song is about for you?
I've been kind of like low key it's like, cause there's a few really odd, like lyrical lines in there. And that's just part of it's my shower playlist.
Your shower playlist,
I have like a Ryan Adams shower playlist. So I hear this song like every morning.
Okay.
It's part of the like 5 or 6 that end up going through. And it's like there's a lot of kind of conflicting stuff in it. Like it feels like he's like, oh, well, is it about mental health? Is there this thing? But there's it could just flat out be, oh, it's just that traveler song. Like I was here. Because at the end he talks about like, oh, there's no sweeter wind than blows across the South. But he's talking about Texas, then he's in Ohio, and then he's, like he's kind of running around. And I feel like, oh, it's just that, like, oh, you got the wanderlust, but you always want to go back to,
home.
My sweet Carolina.
Back home. So, like, is there, you don't have to tell us because this is personal stuff, okay? But, is there something where you're like, I can relate to this? Maybe it's not a place, but maybe it's a person that you keep coming back to, or your instrument, right? Like it can be anything where like I can make this feel like it fits me and my story, not whatever Ryan was doing, right?
Sure.
So, take like a little moment to think about, do you have something where you can keep going back to that?
Yep, I could channel that.
Yeah? Okay, let's channel it. Let's channel that. And the stage, the quiet, people are interested, like they're full on you. And let's just see what happens. You're killing it.
I went down to Houston, stopped in San Antonio. I passed up the station for the bus, trying to find me something I wasn't sure just what. And I ended up pockets full of dust. I went on to Cleveland, I ended up insane. Bought a borrowed suit and learned to dance. I was spending money like the way it likes to rain, and I ended up with pockets full of cane. Okay,
how's that?
Good. Yeah, I can. I can drop into that pretty. In fact, it's kind of one of those things that I feel like I'm good at. You know, people say, "Oh, I get nervous before I go on stage," or "I'm nervous before shows." I just don't.
Yeah.
I just don't have that. I don't have that. Like, oh, I'm nervous. It has to be a really big deal.
Well, I mean, that does show you how like your mind can sometimes work a little bit against you. And it's the same in singing, right? Like we tend to overcomplicate things like, does this sound pretty and blah, blah, blah. Like, are people going to like this? Does this sound like me? Or am I copying somebody, right? Like all these things that we're thinking about, we're making it so complicated. It's like, stop thinking and just sing.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
But also like connect to the material, right?
Sure.
And that's something I had to practice very much. And still, it's an active thought every time I sing anything. Oh, what is this song about actually to me? Right? I don't really care what it is about for the writer. It's to me, like, what does this mean? It's still an active thought every time because it's not natural for me to want to do that. But it's important because it does change just slight little details in your voice here and there. But that was good. Let's look at the chorus. Oh, hold on. Before, you're also singing the word insane. I went insane, right? That's a really powerful word.
Sure.
You never know. I mean, we're going off of, whatever these people
somebody
think
else's
the lyrics.
interpretation, right.
Exactly. But anyway, so pockets full of rain, whatever. We're going to go into that and then into the chorus where this beautiful lady is harmonizing with you. All right, let's go.
Full cane. Oh, my sweet Carolina, what compels me to go? Oh, my sweet disposition, may you one day carry me home.
Oh, that home was beautiful. How does the chorus feel?
Good.
Yeah.
I like that one. Yeah. Like I said, I think when we first started, I was like, there's a note in there. That's the one that kind of misses it. It's that very first one. Sweet.
Yeah.
Like, in another situation,
which is cut out.
And that's one note, and it's a lot of
long note. You got to sustain it.
There, you got to go clear to there before you get a new note. So
your placement is pretty spot on that sweet. Like I see your tongue really like coming up like in the back to make that E sound versus like an ah. Right, the tongue's flat. Your tongue's really nicely coming up in the back. And you're still keeping it flat and wide, which is good. Otherwise, it might be a little bit of tongue tension creeping in there. I think we can loosen it just a little bit. Again, just a little less perfect. So instead of like sweet, right? It's like yee. I'm really getting for like going for that note. Sweet, just a little more space. Do you hear a slight difference? It's like barely a difference.
Sure.
But it makes all the difference in the end. Right. So can you just try the my sweet?
Oh, my sweet Carolina. Oh, my sweet Carolina.
Think like 5% more down than wide.
Okay. Oh, my sweet. I'm playing.
Oh, my sweet. Okay, maybe we need to.
Sweet Carolina.
Can you, instead of a beautiful E sound, sweet, that makes it so perfect. Oh, my sweet. Sweet.
Oh, my sweet Carolina.
Just do less on the note. Because like you're like so close. We just need to make it a little less perfect.
Okay. Oh, my sweet. Oh, my sweet Carolina. I'm not feeling the breath in the right spot there, I don't think.
Okay.
Like, and I know that's something else that, like I said, I have a little trouble. I've always had a little trouble having consistent breath support across the board. Like the same, like singing the chorus, catching the breath in the chorus the same way each time. Like this feels like one of those that I have a tendency to go, take a half breath and go, oh my sweet Caroline. You know, like there's a halfway, or I'll go,
the catch breath.
oh my sweet, you know, like there, as opposed to, oh my, or a longer, oh my sweet.
Yeah. I think the little catch breath is cool. What I saw you do actually that I didn't bring up earlier during the verse when we were working on that that sigh, you were like breathing in beautifully, like you were trained to do during, you know, your brass days. And then you held on to it before you started singing.
Before I let it go.
Yeah. Can you try not holding on to your breath before you let it go?
I've always felt like I nudged to notes along the way. Like I don't have a good spot on hit.
Yeah, but that makes it sound natural.
Right. And it is more, I've always said, well, that just makes me more conversational. You know, it's more of a conversation. And the stuff that I do pay attention to lyrics, it's stuff that it's like, oh, I'm going to speak this to you. You know?
Yes.
There is a part of that. And a lot of my solo set does have that element to it. So
Okay,
it's like,
cool.
oh, well, it definitely will give me some new ways to kind of like, oh, something new to think about. That's good and bad for me. But you know.
No, I get that. But there's just like a nice quality that's coming through when you're not holding on or flooring it, right? Like zero or all of it. Right. It just sounds more natural and less polished, you know?
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
In this case, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
It sounds nice. Let's try the chorus one more time.
Yeah. Oh, my sweet Caroline.
Shake it loose, baby.
What compels me to go? Oh, my sweet disposition. May you one day carry me home.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I felt that felt more confident just in that. Like there's just a spot. It just felt like that was very much one day carry me home. You know, like they sat in the same spot. I didn't feel like I was nudging between them. It felt like they all sat right.
Cool.
Each of those like last little hits, if you were.
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah, no, that was really, really great. One thing I hear you do a lot is Sweet Carolina. Those releases at the end. I think they're a beautiful stylistic tool. It tells me a little bit that you're not using quite as much breath throughout the phrase as you could.
Sure.
Again, you're a brass player, so you want to try and...
Conservation, yeah.
Exactly. And I am giving you permission to use more of it as you're singing, right?
I do kind of like... I've been trying to integrate different things and like just that concentration of breathing that the yoga requires, and which harkens back to playing instruments and singing. Like this is an additional triangulation for the singing thing for me.
Yes.
Where it's like now I've added those two things that I was probably missing, the feel and the like just understanding, you know, like just listening to you talk about it and getting that little bit of information to add to the algorithm, you know.
To the algorithm. I love it. Well, and also just understanding. I know I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to the voice, so I like to explain why we're doing something or how we're doing it and what's really happening. Sure. Because at the end of the day, it does help when you understand. It really does. Oh, if I, like what's happening at the vocal fold level is they're just not closing as tightly to make a breathy sound. Okay, so you can visualize that, right? Visualize that looseness, that openness in the vocal folds. And just having that mental image can sometimes help to get it exactly where you want it.
Well, it's odd. And as a guitar and bass teacher, I told students for years, once you know what it looks like to play those chords, it is almost equally valuable to visualize it as it is to actually do it. Yeah. You know, like you could just... Because thinking, when you first start playing, just going G chord, D chord, like just going back and forth between those two is difficult. But if you're making that triangulation, you're like, okay, my fingers go here. I see them in this shape. Yeah. Okay, then they go here. I see them in this shape. Then you can visualize that. Yeah. Or some people, I guess, can't. But most people visualize. Most people can. Right? Yeah. But, just like that creative visualization.
there were studies that were being done with people, like they separated them into two groups, where one group was actively practicing on the piano and the other group was just studying the sheet music. They were not allowed to play.
Yeah.
And they did just as well, if not better, than the
Sure.
ones who actively practiced.
Right.
Your mind is a very powerful
Right.
thing.
Yep.
Very, very powerful. I love it. So yeah, I mean, honestly, like you're great, right? And even like with that note in there, we're like kind of cutting in and out, like
Right.
sometimes there. I'm not hearing it today.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
I'm not feeling it completely today.
Okay.
Like, there was one moment where I was like, there
One
it is.
little moment. Okay.
But it didn't do what it normally does, which is a full shut off.
Can we just, for shits and giggles, take it up a half step and see what happens?
Sure.
Now, the voice is going to sound a little weird, like the lady that's singing with you. But I like to use the Chrome extension transpose to change the key of it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Just to see if we can find that
Find the
spot
clutch?
in your voice. Just a half step.
And I ended up pockets full of cane. Oh, my sweet Carolina, what compels me to go?
Release.
Oh, my sweet disposition, may you one day carry me home.
Okay, even up here. It's still good.
Yep.
Let's do another one.
Sure.
Let's see. A pocket's full of cane.
Oh, my sweet Carolina. What compels me to go? Oh, my sweet disposition, may you one day carry me home.
Okay, I'm impressed. How's it feeling?
Good.
One more.
Sure.
One more.
I got
That was
one.
really good. That's really good.
Oh, my sweet Carolina, what compels me to go? Oh, my sweet disposition, may you one day carry me home.
I just feel like it's just getting better every time we do it. How's it feeling?
Yeah, like I said, I tend to do that at home. It's like,
Yeah.
and a lot of times I will do that in my rehearsals. I'll rehearse it a whole step higher.
I played a song that was supposed to have no capo, but the song that I played before had the capo on the 4th fret.
Oh my God! So yeah, 2 whole steps of
Oh my God. I was like, why is this song so hard to sing today? And halfway through, I'm like, oh my God, I'm singing it 4 half steps higher.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
But this is when that kind of stuff comes in
Sure.
really handy. And also sometimes what we see when we sing too, the middle part is the hardest part.
Yeah.
So if you're just a little higher, it actually gets easier again.
Right.
You don't necessarily have to go lower. Sometimes you have to
Sure.
go higher.
Well, Molly and I do that in the duo as well because she has more of a alto,
Okay, cool.
so Stevie Nicks
Yep.
kind of spot.
Yep.
Banger spot.
Yeah.
It's like, but it is. It's like that's my top note. That's
Yeah.
the one, and
Yeah.
that has to be down a half step.
And there's no shame in that.
Well, the
It
bad thing
doesn't
is I'll
matter.
go to an open mic and I didn't bring a guitar, and so he's like, "Hey, you want to play?" And I'll get up and I'll start one of those songs, and
I was
halfway
like,
through I'll realize
oh no.
there's going to be one really horrible note at the end of this. Trust me.
It'll
be okay,
You
though.
got it. You got it. And then that's
Well, sometimes it comes out though. You know, like sometimes
Yeah.
under duress, it'll actually happen.
exactly in those situations we just need to know what can we do to adjust to still get the notes out.
Right.
Ideally, we adjust the key.
Sure.
Right. Sometimes that is not an option. So now we need to figure out what can I do with my voice to make that note work.
Right.
I might be doing it completely differently on purpose. Like instead of what?
I just had a weird I thought I saw something out of the corner.
Oh, okay. No,
it
you're
was
good.
a floater. It was
Yeah, a
one of
little
those,
floater. Yeah.
I think I had cat hair on the glasses or something.
you
you know
have
what I mean?
cats?
Like you just nope. My girlfriend does.
Oh, okay, there you
I've
go.
been sitting with them all weekend.
Yeah,
So it's like,
yeah.
first, I keep finding stuff.
But yeah, so sometimes you don't have the option, but instead of like belting the note, if it's a belted note, that's like the E, right? It's like, I just can't get it. Make it something completely different on purpose.
Right.
Like sing it in a breathy voice, like kind of the theme for today, right? Like letting more of that breath flowing through, and don't belt it on purpose. And then that can be a really cool artistic choice. And for the audience, it's like, ooh, that's kind of cool. And for us, it's like, well, I kind of have to do it this way, but but nobody's going to care about that.
Have you ever seen the acoustic version of Aha, Take on Me?
I have not.
It's more modern. It's like, I think it was like on one of those like MTV Unplugged kind of things.
Yeah.
And this is, I think it's from maybe 10 years ago. So they're all older, and you know how that song goes. Take on me, take me on. And there's a 3 octave.
It's a
through that thing.
Big range.
And in the acoustic live version, I bated breath waiting. Is he going to sing that note, that one note?
Yeah.
He doesn't. And you can tell it's not because he can't.
Yeah.
And
having these little tricks can also, you don't struggle with like performance anxiety or anything like that. But like having these little tricks for people who are struggling with like being really nervous before a performance, just creating these safety nets essentially.
Sure.
Knowing about it and knowing that that's a possibility for you. We had a student, he's a performer out in LA, and he sold out the Troubadour, which is awesome. Yeah. And he was like, I am so sick. And I'm like, oh no, here are the things that you can do. And he was like, oh my God, that makes me feel so much better. And then at the end of the day, he didn't even need it, but just knowing that there's something you can do can be so helpful.
A little support. Yep.
Exactly.
Totally.
Bag of tricks.
Yep.
Bag of tricks.
Get your bag of tricks out.
Let's fill that puppy up.
Yep.
I love it. Become Santa Claus.
Yep.
With a little bag of tricks.
And one for you.
And yes. And one for you. One for everybody. You get a trick. And you get a trick.
Magic.
Playing opera. Oh, Oprah. But yeah, I love it. Awesome. Hey, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I learned a lot from you.
Same.
I hope this was
this
somewhat
great.
helpful.
I did not know what to expect. So, I was like, oh, maybe I'm singing today. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. like with when I do like first time lessons with people I've never met before, or maybe I've met them, but I've never heard you sing or whatever. I never know what to expect. And so like, we just go into it and I'm like, all right, I'm hearing this, 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 and this. And then, we just kind of go from there. But I love it. You're so great at what you do.
Thanks.
Where can we find your stuff? Because you're doing a lot of.
Yeah, I've got a couple of project things going on right now.
Yeah.
Like stuff you can go and find. Megan Christine Martin and the 1900. Spotify. You can find us there.
Perfect. I'll link to
There's
it.
a latest single, On My Way to Run, I think is the latest single. I think there's another one about ready to drop. She's getting close to. There was just I think there was just one little kind of mixing session was all that was left for another single.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing right now is we're just dropping singles.
Cool. And you're playing bass?
Bass on that. Bass. And I haven't sang on anything in this project yet, but I played guitar on the last album too. So, like that. This one seems to be, we've added Cam Melton to the band. So we're no longer a trio, we're a quartet.
Yeah.
And Cam comes in with a, great songwriter sensibility.
Yes.
Excellent singer. Plays guitar and keyboard, so he just fattened out everything that we do, and a great engineer. So he's doing the recording as well. So,
he has a studio.
Yeah, Milkman Studio. So that's kind of that side of the project. Then I have a project with my buddy Ian Daniel, which is the Middle of Nowhere All Stars, which is like a instrumental, but we're doing some vocal stuff. We're bringing some guest vocalists. We're doing a lot of recording stuff at Imagine Music Collective down there downtown, IMC, and so. Snatching an occasional drummer from that project and a couple singers from here and so we're just kind of doing assemblage projects right now. There's plans for future shows, but we're just kind of like low key doing studio stuff right now.
Okay.
And everybody's kind of in that mode. And I'm just trying to get myself together to do the ambient bass project.
I love it.
I've reached out to a couple of yoga studios thinking, ooh, you have a little yoga retreat, like the improvised, is really, and I would have brought something to show you, but really the concept is going to be like improvised on the spot for the particular venue.
Wow. That's cool.
I spent the last couple of months just kind of building tricks from my bag, all the things that I got to have to I really like this background sample. I really so I've got about, I really have about 5 hours worth of stuff.
Wow. Yeah.
That I could prep and go, oh, if you need me for how long? 90 minutes? Cool. I can put that together and have like kind of a continuous show go.
Yeah.
But yet it's all improvised.
Yeah.
It's like I have my bed tracks, but the chord changes happen spontaneously as I play.
Yeah.
And I can just, we're going to go from G to D now, and then just change it.
Yeah.
But it's all improvised. So I'm trying to do stuff in that sonic way where it's like, I have big speakers so you can really feel the low stuff and the ambient stuff in the background and really sizzly. I'm using like nature samples in that too.
Yeah.
It's like birds and wind and,
beautiful.
So there's lots of cool stuff going on with that. And that's just kind of like, I'm right on the cusp. I've kind of got the equipment part of it figured out now. And
cool.
It's a matter of just like, I just need to reach out and be like, hey, can I come and play in your spot for a couple hours?
Yeah.
So that'll probably be sometime this summer. I'll be ready to do that. Oh my
gosh, I love it. You'll have to let me know, and then I'll go do yoga to your to your bass playing. Oh, that sounds so cool.
Right, it seems cool. Like, vibrations and yoga and meditation. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. I'll be sure to link to everything too so people can find you. And thank you for singing with
My
me.
Pleasure. It was
thank
great.
you for sharing.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
You as well. And let's do this again sometime, okay?
Awesome.
All righty. Thank you. And thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.